Hello and welcome to episode 331 of the official EstablishTheRun.com podcast. My name is Adam Levitan. I am one of the co-founders here at ETR. And we're coming off of an age model strikes kind of week. Yes, that's right. At long last, the Bills, our Bills, came to their senses. They had their analytics team run the sims. They digested all the data. They inputted a single number into the age model. And of course, that's all it needs to run. All you need to do is tell the model, Gabe Davis is 22 years old. Emmanuel Sanders is 34 years old. And guess what? Guess fucking what? Gabe Davis did more in one game than Manny Sanders has done basically all year. Crazy. I know. The age model knew. You know, the sick part of this is that I had Gabe on 3 of 6 tournament teams for the 4-game slate, bet his overs in props, had some really good finishes in tournaments. You know, shout out to Gary Hartman and Evan and Leone and Amico and everyone for being on Gabe Davis. But I still think I'm probably down on Gabe Davis for the year because he was one of my favorite sleepers in the preseason. I probably played him too often in DFS this year. And these fucking Bills kept playing the corpse of Manny Sanders on every snap. So tilting. But yeah, you know, still happy for Gabe. You know, when you're attached to Josh Allen, you know, who plays so aggressively, you know, on a Bills team which is capable of dropping Josh Allen back on 80, 100% of the plays, you know, things like this can happen. You know, I mean, not 200 yards and 4 touchdowns, but big games. You know, unless you're Steph Diggs, of course, and then somehow you only have 1 or 2 big games all year despite staying healthy. You know, one of the true wonders of the world. Anyway, this 4-game slate was awesome, and Sunday especially. You know, I've had a few people say to me, and I've seen some chatter, you know, the NFL is a joke now. You know, there's no defense. I wish the game would go back to the way it was. And man, I just think that's a flat, bad take. Like, have you seen a Baker Mayfield versus Teddy Bridgewater game? Have you seen a Zach Wilson versus Jameis Winston game? The defenses there look just fine. There's nothing wrong with the defenses then. You know, I know it's crazy, but when you get 3 of the best quarterbacks ever, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, and one very, very good quarterback in Matthew Stafford, when you get all 4 of those guys together on the same slate, you know, you're not going to believe this, but there's going to be good offense played. There's going to be incredible plays in the pass game. You know, it's just so rare that we get these elite quarterback matchups, let alone 2 on the same day. So yeah, everything's fine. Gabe's not broken. It was great. As for the DFS slate, I mean, yeah, it was just as wild as the Sunday games. I had a Matthew Stafford double with a Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans bringbacks. That was in 5th in the Wildcat when the Bills lined up for that 4th and 13. And by the time Kansas City Buffalo was over, I was in like 50th place or something, you know, totally wild. So yeah, you know, the Mahomes doubles with Gabe Davis bringback ended up being what you needed to win. But as always with this stuff in tournaments, you know, it's thin. If Allen doesn't convert that 4th and 13, it's likely the Stafford doubles with Gabe that win. Regardless, you know, what a slate. I love these 4-game stacked slates with each one on its own island. You know, it's just the best setup, XFL style. That's how you know it's great. If not for the corporate greed of the NFL, we could have had a 6-game slate stacked the right way for wildcard weekend. You know, but they had to get that Monday Night Football money. All right. I have lots more stuff to talk about in terms of more macro stuff on props and betting and the DFS season as a whole, but plenty of time for that in the off season. Let's get to everyone's favorite portion of the program, the listener questions. Producer Luke, hit the theme music. All right, question 1 comes from Cody Main, our own Cody Main, the Showdown Virgin himself, FSWA nominee for DFS Writer of the Year. Extremely, extremely well-deserved. By the way, shout out to all of our FSWA nominees. Cody for DFS Writer of the Year. Like I said, all his Showdown work really is incredible. Pat Thorman, best ongoing series for Snaps and Pace. I mean, his writing in there is really incredible, and actually, like, the content in Snaps and Pace is so uniquely valuable. Peter Overzet, the man's, for the best ball video that he did with us on YouTube back in July. So good. And then also the ETR NBA podcast Hope you guys are listening to that. Was nominated for Best Podcast. Again, if you have any interest at all in the NBA, Dink and Gallagher and the team is so good. It's amazing. Check them out. But anyways, back to the question. Cody asks, can we get an Adam Levitan solo pod, no excuses, play like a champion rant to put an end to the OT madness? So Cody is referring to the raging debate about the overtime rules in NFL. You know, after the Bills-Chiefs game, there was much debate about the overtime rules. Wah, it's not fair that the Bills never got to touch the ball. You know, wah, if the Bills had just won the coin toss, they would have won the game. You know, wah. My thing, as always, is that caring about which laundry wins and loses is inherently, quite stupid. And therefore, it would be physically impossible for me to personally care less about the overtime rules in the NFL. But I get that there are some psychopaths out there who actually do care. So I do empathize with the frustration here. What I don't empathize with is the bitching after the fact. Like, you knew the rules going in. They were all agreed upon by the teams. Everyone knows the rules. I just can't take the bitching. I can't take it. If you're a Bills fan and you won the toss and you won the game, would you be bitching about the rules? No. You'd have your pants around your ankles at full 3.9 inches, shotgunning 2 natty ices like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, if you want to say logically, calmly, hey, look, the OT rules in the NFL should change. They're not good. Okay, I can get behind that. I guess I'm confused why the other team doesn't get to match. Like, okay, the Chiefs went down, they scored a touchdown, they would have made the extra point. Now they kick off to the Bills. The Bills must score a touchdown and make the extra point to extend the game. And then after that, it's sudden death. That would at least take a little bit more variance out of the coin flip. Seems like an easy answer. I don't know. But I'm sure the football bros, have more to say on it or whatever. But question 2 from Rob. He says, a girl broke up with me 4 months ago via text, but I think she still wants me. Do I reach out? I mean, I would need some more context here, Rob, right? Like, what makes you think she still wants you? I think that would be a pretty key piece of info here. But regardless, I'd say this, man. Like, one thing I've learned about myself is that I really, really suffer from grass is always greener syndrome. It's really bad. But I think being like thoughtful and intentional with it helps a lot. And like the big one is this single bro versus married dude thing. The married guy is constantly bitching. Fuck, man. If I was single, I'd be at the bars. I'd be crushing beers. I'd be talking to girls. I'd be having the time of my life. Meanwhile, the single guy is eating a Hot Pocket, just beat his dick for the 3rd time today. He's playing a 6-year-old from Taiwan in NBA 2K12. Shout out little Dicky. He's smoking weed. He's crying himself to sleep out of loneliness. So the grass is always greener. And my point, Rob, is that without knowing any context around your spot, it's possible that she broke up with you, realized the grass isn't greener as, she's getting grinded on, from behind by some disgusting dude at the club, and she decides she wants you back. That's certainly in the range. Certainly. Question 3 from Jeff. He says, hey, Adam, I was curious if you ever thought about sports betting parlays being a better ROI than DFS tournaments. Thinking about a 6-leg parlay of all legs being minus 110, $50 pays out over 2K, while DFS tournaments is a lineup of 8 players plus competing against other humans. Honestly, Jeff, it's an interesting thought that I'm not really educated enough on parlays to give a good answer on. Obviously, the whole idea of risking a little to have a chance, albeit a small one, but risking a little to have a chance to win a lot is incredibly, insanely popular. The lottery, extreme large field DFS tournaments, 10-leg, sports betting parlays. It's just so popular. The reason that I'm skeptical about something like a 6-game parlay being better than DFS, I'll give 3 reasons. The first, the payout is juiced so hard on those parlays, I think. I'm not sure what kind of win rate or ROI on each bet of the parlay you need to be profitable. So maybe I shouldn't be speculating, but yeah, that's one thing. I mean, it's just so much juice to eat. The second thing is that it's hard to find 6+ EV bets to put together. Like the biggest edge we have as sports bettors is line shopping. But obviously with a parlay, you can't do that because the whole parlay has to be on the same book. But I don't know, maybe this is a bad take because I think we can find 6+ EV props. I mean, we're 208 and 116 on the season in NFL props. Shout out to us. An NBA team is 383 and 256. So yeah, I mean, prop parlays, that does intrigue me if you can get them off or you're not limited. The last thing I'd say, though, is that I personally like competing against other humans. Like, I think generally that's where my edge is. That's what I prefer. When you're betting sports, the people on the other side of the counter are professionals also. It's not like some dude with one hand wiping his ass on the shitter and the other hand mashing buttons to make a DFS lineup on his phone. I can assure you that when you're betting sports, the guy on the other side of the counter makes his lines at the desktop, with multiple screens like an alpha. But look, I know that sports betting and everything around it is sweeping the nation, and I get that a ton of you are super, super interested in it and want to get better. Feel free to shoot me a note on Twitter or whatever with exactly what you'd like to see us do in betting to help you guys. I would love to hear your ideas. Question 4 from Ryan. He says, is Irma Kostrowski a top 5 all-time Curb Your Enthusiasm character, excluding Larry and Jeff? I don't think so, man. I mean, I did like this past season, but I didn't love the Irma thing all that much. I didn't think she was that funny. I'll give you my top 4 non-Larry or Jeff characters. Number 1, obviously, Leon. I actually saw Leon do stand-up live in Philly, and I didn't find him that funny, but man, he is so, so, so good on the show. 2 would be Susie. I mean, when she starts cursing at Larry, it's so good. Susie is the best. 3 for me would be Richard Lewis. I mean, Richard Lewis on the show, and I think in real life probably too, but on the show especially, he's just an all-time miserable fuck. Like, I love it so much. And the 4, this is obscure, but Shara from the Palestinian chicken episode and a couple other episodes. I mean, you got to watch the Palestinian chicken episode. You'll know who Shara is. She's unbelievable and one of my favorite characters of all time, even though I think she was only like a smallish bit character in maybe 2 or 3 episodes. Question 5 from Ben H. He says, Adam, my wife recently showed me a video from a blogger who explained that many couples struggling to get pregnant have gone to a fertility clinic and revealed that they were using the woman's belly button. The video had a ton of replies from people confirming that this was true. Does Gender Labs have any data on this? Ben, you can file this under the ass eating column. Like along those same lines, I can't believe this shit is true. I can't. But now that I'm reading this question, Ashley Jennings, Peter's wife, actually mentioned something to me about this like sex with belly button thing. I had no idea what she was talking about. But I guess what Ben is suggesting here, and what I guess he says the video from the blogger is suggesting, is that people are having sex with belly buttons. I mean, first thing that comes to mind is Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, how small are these guys' cocks that they're having sex with belly buttons? Okay, but whatever, I get that people are sick, they have sex with toes and fucking armpits and horses. I mean, who knows? Maybe I can buy that this sex with a belly button thing. But then they think they can get pregnant like that? I mean, come on. I know there are some stone cold dolts out there, but I can't believe people, it's not a bit. Like, I can't believe that people actually think they can get pregnant through the belly button. I actually think Ashley wanted to come on the podcast this offseason and discuss this matter further. So if that's something you want to hear on the podcast this offseason, let us know. Question 6 from Poyle. He says, what is the GTO way to make money in college? I've had some success with poker and a bit of DFS, but I simply don't have the financial backbone to move up in stakes. My dining hall job isn't cutting it to fund my degen habits and potential downswings. Yeah, dining hall job, I mean, with all due respect, it's not getting you on hashtag team sex, bro. Like, you need a job in a bar, preferably as the bartender, take the bartending class, do what you got to do. Easy game. Generally speaking, I'd say I really would try not to worry about money in college. You have the rest of your life to be stressed about money. And this is the only time really, where everybody expects you to be busto. So, obviously you need money to go out to eat and go out drinking or whatever. I get it. But I'd really advise you not to go overboard trying to grind your cock off. All right, question 7, last question we're going to do today comes from Matt. He says, let's say I happen to win the Millie Maker 2 times in 1 year. At this point, I'm obviously banging Instagram models who are trying to steal my sperm. Do you think the GTO strategy is to pour hot sauce into your used condoms like Drake was just exposed for, or is there a more optimal strategy? Man, what a question. Let me just say this to start, Matt. You win 2 Millie Makers. Awesome. Incredible. At least 40% of that is going to the government. So you have 1.2 million left. You got 1.2 million. I have bad news, Matt. Really bad news, actually. Sadly, I don't think that $1.2 million belonging to some DFS virgin is going to move the needle with Instagram models. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I always try to be honest on here. Now, that said, I'm actually fascinated by this Drake story. I had not heard this, obviously, as a stone cold boomer myself, I had not heard this story. But after Matt's question, I looked it up. So apparently, not too long ago, after Drake had the sex with a young lady, he takes the condom off, he puts it in a trash can. The young lady secretly grabs the condom out of the trash can and tries to impregnate herself with the enclosed sperm. But when she does that, she screams in pain because Drake apparently is super sharp. And I guess he's had this done to him before and he's tilted that he has a kid with a porn star or something. I don't know. But whatever. Drake poured hot sauce into the condom to kill the sperm. I mean, man, I got to give credit to Drake here. Like, not only is he doing something practical, he's killing the sperm, but he's also punishing the young lady, reasonably for being so malicious. And I got to say, she deserves the punishment. I mean, I can't think of many more slimy things to do than trying to trap a dude by bringing another human into the world. I mean, that's low, man. So yeah, the Drake hot sauce burn, I love it. All right. That is going to do it for this edition of the Solo Pod. I'll be back later tonight with Silva for Conference Championship team by team. See you then. For Producer Luke, for Jerry, I am Adam. Good luck, everybody.